Welcome in, everybody. It's the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show. I am your host, Coach Matthew Mitchell. We're broadcasting from Lexington, Kentucky, the worldwide headquarters of 333 Consulting, where we teach the winning tools, honesty, hard work, and discipline. And we are located, as I said, in beautiful Lexington, Kentucky. And it is a beautiful October day. We are recording today. And I will tell you this. If you want a little slice of heaven in your life, you should visit Lexington, Kentucky in October. It is absolutely spectacular. So much is happening. The Wildcats are playing SEC football on the weekends, and we start running the horses at Keeneland Thoroughbred. We're the epicenter of the thoroughbred industry worldwide here in Lexington, Kentucky. But Keeneland Racetrack is really one of the absolute jewels of America. And you come in here for a weekend and come visit the Bourbon Trail. That's so much fun. But October is just the perfect time of year to do that. And also, October is the beginning of Q4, the fourth quarter of the year. We have 3 months left in 2024. And we've been talking a lot on the podcast about preparation. And we're going to continue that today. And I'm going to give you something today that's very important for us to be prepared leaders. And the beginning here in October is a great time to think about this next quarter and make sure we're prepared for what we want to accomplish as we wind down the calendar year. And also, it's a great time to start planning and preparing for 2025. So we're going to be discussing that topic over the next few podcasts. And today, we're going to talk about something that's very important for us to be prepared leaders, and that's clarity of goals. As we're trying to produce, as we're trying to perform, we're trying to accomplish things in our life and in our business. It's going to be very difficult to reach our potential if we're not clear on what we're trying to accomplish. What is the goal? What are we doing here? And so today, I want to talk about the lens of a clear goal. Now, what is a lens? A lens is how we're viewing things. I think there's a lens in our eyeballs. I'm pretty sure I think there is. There's a lens in glasses. If you're watching on YouTube, matter of fact, it's a good time to tell you we are on YouTube. I hope you'll go to the channel and subscribe. And if you're watching it right now, you'll see I'm putting some glasses on. There's some lens here in the glasses, and the lens that helps us see. And do we want to see poorly? Of course not. Of course we don't. We want to see with precision. We want to see well. We want a clear lens. So a lens of a clear goal is, well, I learned this a while back, and let me share this story with you, and really where I started thinking about this concept and how this was driven home to me. So I'll tell you a little bit about that, and then I'll tell you how we do that with the winning tools. So I played a little bitty town, Louisville, Mississippi. I think I've mentioned that before. East central part of the state. Lovely, lovely place. Not many people know about it. Not many people know how lovely it is because it's hard to get to, and not many people go there. But great place to grow up. And small town, we're about 90 miles northeast of Jackson, Mississippi. We're about 2.5 hours south of Memphis. We're about 2.5 hours west of Birmingham. And if hopefully that helps you sort of orient yourself with where we are on the map. But we're in the east central part of the state, the Red Clay Hills of Mississippi, Louisville, Mississippi. And we played a lot of sports when I was growing up. I lived out, was about 7 miles out of town, had 3 older brothers. We were always playing sports. There were 3 television channels, NBC, ABC, CBS. We lived too far away from the ABC station, had an antenna. I don't even know if anybody at this point even knows what I'm talking about right now, but we, not much going on TV. We couldn't get the ABC station. It was just NBC and CBS. But we didn't have much opportunity to watch because in the summertime, Mom would send us out of the house. Dad was working, and Mom would send us out of the house, lock the doors, and said, don't come back till lunch. And so, and a lot of times at lunchtime, she wouldn't let us in either. She just handed a sandwich outside the door, but didn't spend a lot of time indoors. So we were playing sports all the time. 3 older brothers. I was the youngest. We lived on a gravel road for quite some time. They finally paved it years later. But this is just a side note. This has nothing to do with, well, it kind of does have something to do with preparation. But my brothers were barefoot all the time in the summer. We're running around the yard playing baseball or coming up with different kind of sports to play. But I kept my shoes on at all times. I was prepared because if the situation went sideways and there was some type of dispute, it had the possibility with 4 boys of getting physical. And you can just imagine the other 3 boys were kind of all the same age. I was 6 years younger than the oldest, and 5 than the second oldest, and 4 years from the third. And so there's quite a bit of age gap there. And so I had to be ready. If the stuff went down, I had to be able to get out of there because I really couldn't defend myself. I was too small. So I had my shoes on. So if I could just race to the gravel road, I'd be safe because then they couldn't chase me on the gravel road. So I had to stay prepared at all times. So I kept my shoes on. They kept their shoes off. And sometimes I made it to the road, which was a good thing. Sometimes I didn't, which, I guess maybe toughened me up a little bit. But I digress. That's just a little side tip on preparation. You can always be prepared. But we played sports, and playing against my older brothers, I think that was an advantage for me because I got pretty good and was a decent athlete, and I started to excel in sports. And so on the football team, we played all sports because it was such a small town. But on the football team, I was a quarterback. And my junior season, I started as the high school quarterback, and I had a good year. And I had some aspirations and some interest from college football. And so the summer before my senior year in high school football, I was invited to a quarterback camp, and it was on the campus of Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama, and it was hosted by a legendary football coach named Bobby Bowden. And Bobby Bowden is one of the all-time winningest football coaches in the history of NCAA football. He was the head coach at Florida State and built a true dynasty at Florida State. He had 3 sons that all eventually went into college coaching, and so he and his sons would host this high school quarterback camp for college prospects. So I went to the camp and just had a great experience. And the thing that made the experience so great was Bobby Bowden. Bobby Bowden was a magnetic figure who just would draw you in an instant. He just had such a great presence about himself. And a lot of people from that era in college football coaching were really harsh, gruff, sort of difficult type personalities that try to project this image of being real tough. And Bobby Bowden had a great way about him of just making you feel at ease, making you feel valued. I can remember one night I went out during the camp, and I was not one of the top prospects there. Trust me, I was okay, but I went out in the hallway and I was just talking with him one night, and he made me feel like I was the best quarterback there. He was real complimentary, real encouraging, not dishonest. He didn't tell me I was the best quarterback there, but he made me feel that way. He just was a tremendous, tremendous leader and inspiring person. So that just imprinted on my psyche and in my mind. It just I was a huge Bobby Bowden fan. So then you fast forward a few years later, and I'm now in college coaching and basketball, coaching women's college basketball. I'm an assistant coach at the University of Florida. And so we were in the same state, obviously, as Florida State. And so on Sunday afternoons during football season, the Steve Spurrier Coaches Show would come on television. And I would watch that on Sunday afternoons. And then right after that, the Bobby Bowden Coaches Show would come on. And I would watch that every Sunday. Again, just loved his style, loved how he described the game, loved his demeanor. And so that just increased and enforced my admiration for Bobby Bowden. And then you fast forward a few years past that, and I was able to be in the room one night with him here in Lexington when we had a Coach Mark Stoops, who's the Kentucky football coach right now, and he has been for several years. He had been the defensive coordinator at Florida State, and he was able to get Coach Bowden to come up and support an FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes fundraiser that the Central Kentucky chapter was having. And so I attended that night and was able to listen to Coach Bowden again. And even after 30 years, he's still, from the first time that I became just such a huge fan, he was absolutely incredible that night. So I followed his career and consumed as much content as I could from him and tried to learn from him, although I didn't have very many personal interactions with him. He had a huge impact on my leadership, and he told this story of when he had the opportunity to go to Florida State and to start coaching that program. He was the coach at West Virginia University, and he got the offer to go to Florida State, and all of his colleagues in college football said, "Bobby, that's a dead end. That's a dead end program to go to. There's no resources. The stadium's a dump. The school has no money. The weight room's a mess. The practice fields are horrible. The locker rooms are dirty and dingy and no paint, and it's just an absolute dead-end job." And so Coach Bowden said he listened to some of that, but all he could see, he didn't see any of those things. What he saw was incredible opportunity. And the opportunity was what it could become because of the players in about a 250-mile radius. He had access to some of the best football players in the country. And in that region, about you put Tallahassee, Florida down, and you go about 250 miles out from there, and you're in some of the most fertile recruiting ground for football talent in America. And he saw that, and he said, if I can just get there and build a strong culture of taking care of people, and we focus on playing winning football, that's where the opportunity is, and we can build something very special. And he said all of these negative things that other people saw, no shiny weight room, no good locker room, dilapidated stadium, no resources from the athletic department, no money. He said if we could just get enough grass on the field to practice, if the weight room might have rusty weights, but if the weights are heavy enough to push weight, we can get strong enough. if there's no leaks in the roof or anything in the locker room and there's enough room to put your pads in there, that'll be okay too. And so his point was the focus was going to be totally on recruiting talented players, and then once that happened, focus on playing championship level football. And so he said if he had enough grass on the field, enough weights in the weight room, enough food to eat, a roof over their head, if he just had the basics, then he could focus on playing championship football. What directly impacted winning a football game? And so they were going to focus on recruiting. They were going to focus on getting strong. They were going to focus on executing on offense, defense, and special teams. And they were not going to focus on what they didn't have. So he was not going to complain about a lack of money and go down and set up a meeting with the athletic director and say, I need more money, when the money wasn't there anyway. He wasn't going to waste time on something that did not directly impact playing championship football. And so he went about the business of that, and what Florida State became, and this is a staggering statistic, they finished in the top 5 of the AP poll, the top 25 AP poll. They finished in the top 5 15 years in a row, 15 consecutive seasons. They were in the top 5 in the country. They won 2 national championships. They won another since Coach Bowden retired. But he built that from a job that people said do not go, but he stayed focused on on winning and playing winning football, and he turned that into one of the most tradition-rich programs now in the country. And his impact is on football and on people in the profession, and then people outside the profession like me. His impact's been tremendous. And so what did that teach us? That is, he looked through the lens of a clear goal. And so the lesson we learned from Coach Bowden is this. Here's the question that we need to ask ourselves that will allow us to look clearly at our goal. Is the next action I'm about to take, once I know my goal, is the next action I'm taking, is that getting me closer to my goal? Is that advancing me closer to my goal? Or is it getting me there faster? Is it reducing the time and getting the path to the goal there? It gets me on my path and helps me reach my goal faster. Is the next action helping me do that? Or is the next action preventing me from getting to my goal or slowing me down? And so this is a real simple concept. If the answer is yes, you're now dealing in a solution. And if the answer is no, or I'm not sure, you're dealing with a distraction. Plain and simple. And so leaders who produce, leaders who accomplish, are not distracted leaders. They are solution-oriented, and they are moving and advancing toward the goal, whether it be in a methodical manner that it's going to take you some time, or they have found some innovation within the process that speeds up the realization of the goal. That's a solution-oriented leader. That's an innovative leader. A distracted leader is choosing actions that are getting them further from the goal or slowing them down. So the great example of Coach Bowden is he focused on playing winning football, running plays with precision, teaching the fundamentals of blocking, tackling. That's what he focused on. Those were solutions. Or during his evaluation, if he found something that he could change and do different, that was an innovation. And so he was looking through the lens of a clear goal, and he was not taking time to go complain about crummy facilities, which I think all of us are capable of viewing our goal in an unclear fashion because we can get focused on the wrong thing that seems like it's going to make a big difference. I think resources, sometimes we get so caught up in resources that we think that resources have to just be at an optimum level for us to accomplish. What the reality is if we have enough resources to get the job done, now we can focus on solutions, innovations. And if we focus on the lack of resources, then we're distracted. So the lens of the clear goal is viewed through solution and innovation. Unclear, if it's unclear, now we're into distraction. So what do we want to do? We want to use honesty, hard work, and discipline to help us stay rooted in solutions, to help us stay curious, and in evaluation we may be able to innovate. And that's the leader that's going to be productive, that's going to be accomplishing things. And that's where we all want to be. So on this beautiful October day here in Lexington, I hope that is something worthwhile for you to think on. And we've equipped you with something to help you get closer to reaching your goal, to producing, to accomplishment. If you are interested in what we are doing, I invite you and encourage you to go to CoachMatthewMitchell.com. We are teaching, we are coaching, we are speaking, writing, training, and we would love to come into your life, love to come into your business, love to come into your team. Anybody who has high aspirations for achievement, the winning tools can help you and move you and advance you toward what you want to accomplish. We're so happy that you're listening to the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show. You can get us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. If you are listening to us on Apple, we invite you and encourage you to leave us a review. And we also want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show. And so stay tuned. We have some exciting guests that are on the way soon. I think we're just a few episodes away from that. We're so excited to inform you on that once we get all that nailed down. But we are loving spending this time with you each episode. We thank you for listening or watching today, and we will see you next time on the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show.